Todd Monken sat down with This Is Football a little bit closer to the league meeting, obviously, where he missed the photo and everybody was going crazy on him because he had to get a fresh lineup. Now he's speaking on Shedeur and the future of the Browns. Let's hear it.
Turn Shedeur, just year one, just what did you see on film?
I think you see playmaking ability. I think you see a player that is confident in his skill set. So when you see that playmaking ability and inner confidence, you say, okay, there's something to work with there. So that I think that's the thing that excites you. I said it this morning that 15 or 20 years ago, they would have said that Shedeur Sanders was athletic. They would have said he could escape. Well, the game's changed so much to now he's not a mobile quarterback. No, he's mobile. He's just not as mobile as what we've come to. We've come to where Lamar Jackson or the quickness that these players have, their escapability.
Todd Monken stunned by Shedeur Sanders, and what he said next is turning heads across the league. At a time when critics are questioning everything about Shedeur, Monken saw something different. Not hype, not legacy, not the last name, but raw, undeniable playmaking ability. The kind that doesn't show up in simple stats. And now the real question is, if the NFL still doubts him, are they about to make a massive mistake? Todd Monken stunned by Shedeur Sanders, and what he saw on film is shaking everything people thought they knew. Because coming into this moment, the narrative around Shedeur Sanders wasn't clean. It wasn't unanimous. It wasn't even fair. For months, the conversation wasn't about what he could do. It was about what he couldn't. He's not fast enough. He's not Lamar. He played in a system. He's just hyped because of Deion Sanders. And just like that, the league started putting him into a box. But here's the reality nobody wanted to admit. The expectations themselves had changed. Quarterbacks weren't just judged on decision-making anymore. They were being compared to outliers. Players like Lamar Jackson had completely redefined what mobility even means. And if you didn't look like that, suddenly you weren't mobile at all. That's where Shedeur got caught. Because what people ignored was what was actually happening on the field. They ignored the pressure he faced. They ignored the hits he took. They ignored the fact that he was still standing in collapsing pockets, delivering throws, making plays, surviving chaos. Instead, they focused on what he wasn't. And that's where things started to get dangerous. Because in the NFL, misjudging a quarterback doesn't just affect a player, it can define a franchise, especially a franchise like the Cleveland Browns. A team that knows exactly what it feels like to get it wrong, over and over and over again. So when the conversation turned towards Shedeur potentially being part of that future, it wasn't just about talent anymore. It was about trust. It was about development. And most importantly, it was about whether the NFL was about to make the same mistake again. Todd Monken didn't hesitate. When he sat down and was asked about Shedeur Sanders, he didn't dodge the question. He didn't play it safe. He said exactly what he saw. I think you see playmaking ability. I think you see a player that is confident in his skill set. Just like that, the narrative cracked. Because this wasn't a random analyst. This wasn't social media hype. This was Todd Monken, a coach known for being brutally honest. A coach who has seen quarterbacks succeed and fail at every level. And he didn't stop there. He went deeper. He addressed the criticism directly, without even naming it. 15 or 20 years ago, they would have said he's athletic, he can escape. Think about that for a second. Monken wasn't just evaluating Shedeur, he was exposing the flaw in how everyone else was evaluating him. Because the standard had shifted so far, that mobile no longer meant functional. It meant elite, it meant rare, it meant unrealistic. And Shedeur was being punished for not being something he was never supposed to be. But then came the line that changed everything. Now it's going to be our fault if we can't develop them. Not his fault, not the system's fault, not the past. Our fault. That wasn't just a statement, it was accountability. And in a league where young quarterbacks are often thrown into broken systems and blamed for the outcome, that kind of mindset, it's rare, it's powerful. And for fans of the Cleveland Browns, it's almost unbelievable. Because for years, the story has been the same. Quarterbacks go in and come out worse. But now there's a coach saying the quiet part out loud, that maybe, just maybe, the problem was never the players. Turn on the tape and the story changes fast. This isn't a limited quarterback. This is a playmaker under pressure. Defenders hanging on him, still completing passes. Pocket collapsing, still creating plays. His escapability, better than advertised. His pressure to sack ratio, strong. But none of that mattered, because he wasn't fast enough. And that's the problem. Not every QB needs to be Lamar Jackson. Some win with speed, others win with control. Shedeur processes. He adjusts, he creates without panic. That's what Monken saw. And that's what the NFL might be missing. Now comes the real tension, because everything sounds good until you remember the Cleveland Browns' history. Quarterbacks go in and don't come out the same. So when Monken says, it's our job to develop them, that's accountability. No more excuses. If Shedeur struggles, it won't just be on him, it'll be on the system. Fans are split. Some believe this is different. Others have heard this before. And that's the pressure. Because this isn't just about talent anymore. It's about whether the Browns can finally get it right. Then Monken said something that changed everything. Most underrated player he coached? Stetson Bennett.
Most underrated player you ever coached in your career?
Most underrated player that I've Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett. Now he ended up, and I underrated him. I'll say that because I didn't. I underrated his skill set.
The jokes and all the things when he's obviously winning the national championships and so anybody could do that. If anybody could do it, other people would do it. He's like, I mean, like you just look at the record, you look at the wins.
No, he gets all the credit. He gets all the credit. I mean, I tried everything I could early in his career to not play him.
Wow.
For a number of reasons. Some he has to own, but some I have to own. But ultimately, he just kept competing. Nobody believed in him more than Kirby Smart. And he got better and better and better.
I underrated him. That's rare honesty. He admitted he didn't believe early, tried not to play him, but Bennett kept proving him wrong. We won because of him. That's the key. Because it shows Monken learns. He adjusts. And now, he's seeing something in Shedeur early. So the question becomes, is the league about to repeat the same mistake? Doubt the player. Ignore the intangibles. Realize too late? Football has evolved. Spread offenses. QB-driven systems. Faster decisions. As Monken explained, everything changed, but evaluation? Maybe not. Because players like Shedeur don't fit clean labels. Not a pure runner, not a traditional pocket passer. Something in between. And that confuses people. But confusion doesn't mean weakness. It means evolution. So maybe the problem isn't Shedeur. Maybe the NFL just isn't ready. Todd Monken saw something real in Shedeur Sanders. Not hype, not a name, but playmaking. And if he's right, the league might already be behind. So what do you think? Is Shedeur being overlooked, or is the NFL missing the bigger picture? Comment below and subscribe for more stories where the truth hits harder than the headlines.